Okay, book lovers, we need to talk about our TBR piles. There are some books I keep pretending I will read one day, but let's be honest, it's probably never gonna happen. Heavy on the probably, because I am a woman and I have the right to change my mind. Some of these are definitely unpopular opinions, so you might agree with me or you might want to fight me in the comment section. Either way, we're gonna talk about it. We are going to do the books I will probably never read tag. But first, welcome back to my channel where we read between mental breakdowns because books are cheaper than therapy. Let's jump into it. Now, this video should be pretty quick because how much can you possibly yap about books that you have never read? I guess we'll see. Question number 1 is, what is a really hyped book you're not interested in reading? Now, I'm going to give more than one book just because, again, I don't really know about these books, so I can't really say a whole lot about them. But the first book is definitely Icebreakers. If you are going to give me a cutesy little cartoon cover and I find out that it is just a book essentially full of smut, immediately no. Immediately no.
Yeah, immediately no. Immediately no. Immediately no. Like instantly, I was like, yeah, no.
Also, just based on what I've heard from it, like I know it's not maybe the steamiest thing on Book Talk or BookTube or whatever, because there are some really steamy books. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of smut. I don't mind smut when it makes sense to the story, but when you have characters that are acting one way, we are led to believe that they are a certain way, and then all of a sudden the smut is introduced and they become totally different, their personalities completely change. I'm just like, that's not for me. So I just know I'm not going to enjoy anything about this book, but right off the bat, just the marketing of it with the cutesy cartoon cover, again, immediately no. The second book in this category is going to be The Love Hypothesis because, again, I don't really know anything about this book. All I know is that it was a popular book at one point, but I guess I'm just not a huge fan of cartoon covers because it doesn't draw me in. It doesn't pique my interest at all. Obviously, I read things that have cartoon covers, but I don't know, something about this, I literally don't know a single thing about this story other than what I can gather on the cover, that they're in a science lab, they have white coats, so I'm gonna guess that it is a love story between two colleagues, but nothing about it looks interesting to me, and just based on the little bit that I've heard, nothing about it sounds interesting to me. Now, a book that does sound interesting that I think if I read it, I would probably enjoy just based on the comments about it, but I probably will never get to, and that is The Song of Achilles. Again, I don't really know anything about the story. I just know that people say it's a really good book, they loved it, and it made them feel emotional. And me being someone who is drawn to emotional stories, one would think I would immediately jump on that. But I think what happened is it just, like, the time passed, the moment passed, it was there, I never got to it, and now it's like, do we still talk about this book? Is it really that good, or was it just good for that period of time and now we know that there are much better options? I don't know. It sounds kind of boring to me, but just based on what I hear, I think I would enjoy it, but I just know that I'm never gonna get to it. And finally, Haunting Adeline. I have just heard so many mixed opinions about that book, about the series. I think maybe there's 2 or 3 books, I'm not sure. Don't come for me. One, I'm not really into dark romance or dark whatever that is. Again, I don't even know anything about this book, so I can't have a lot of opinion on it, but just based on the way that I hear people speak about it, it doesn't sound like it would be something that I personally would enjoy. My recording program just stopped recording mid-program, so we're gonna hope that, like, the file isn't corrupt and that we are saving this recording. Oh no! But let's move on to question number 2, a series you won't be starting or won't be finishing. The first series that I put was the Twisted Game series. And again, I know nothing about this series. Nothing. Like, there is no reason why I should just, like, cut it off completely. I just know I see it everywhere and the covers are so recognizable. And I don't love the covers, so that's probably like the first strike against it. They don't do anything to pull me in. I can be convinced to read them, but again, it's one of those series that I feel like the time has just passed. You know what I mean? Like, Does that make sense? Like, it just feels like some things were a moment in time, and if you didn't watch them or read them, it's like the moment has passed and it was not made for me, and I'm on to bigger and better things. So that's what happened with the Twisted Game series. And then the second book, this is probably gonna shock you. The second series is the Hunger Games series. And that is because I never read them, and I don't know why. I don't know. I never got around to reading Divergent either. They just weren't on my radar for whatever reason at the time, and I do believe that I would really enjoy the books. I have since read the Songbird book, and then I read the one with Haymitch that I can't remember. The name is slipping off the tip of my tongue right now. So I did read those ones, and I think that if I read the Hunger Games series, I would really enjoy it because it has everything that I love in a series. Like, I love that it kind of has political messaging, deep messaging, it has trauma, it has all the things that I typically love in a story. But I think with the Hunger Games, what happened was, I think the movies to me are perfection. Like, I love the movies. I watch them at least once a year. I just think that the movies are so well done. And I have this thing about myself where if I've already watched the movie or the TV show, I'm probably not going to read the book. And I recognize that that is stupid. I recognize that books are usually better than the movies. But once I know what is going to happen, I don't want to read it because I already know the ending to the story. I don't even like spoilers when it comes to movies or TV shows or books. I don't want to know anything. Most books I go into blind. Like, people recommend it, I start reading it, I don't even know what it's about. So having already known the whole story, I just can't see myself actually enjoying reading the books. It's kind of like with Harry Potter. I know people say, like, you have to read the books. They're so much better than the movies. But to be honest with you, as somebody who is a huge fan, like, the Harry Potter series were one of the first books that as a kid I was just really drawn to, and I was at every midnight release. I went to every movie midnight release. As somebody that is so deep in it with that, I can tell you that if I only saw the movies, I would feel like I saw enough. Like, I would not feel the need to read the books. So that's where I stand on that. And I know that's not a good, like, a popular good thing to say, but that's just, it's my reality. It's my truth. The next question is going to get me in trouble with the pretentious book community, and it is a classic that you're just not interested in. And I'm just gonna say it, most of them, / pretty much all of them. And listen, I feel like when you say that kind of thing, people are like, you're not a real reader, you're one of the people that is, like, corrupting the publishing industry, blah, 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 blah. I've said it before, I will say it again. I was reading beyond a high school level in the 3rd grade. Reading was my life. I read all day, every day. So you can't tell me I'm not a real reader or I'm destroying the publishing industry because I am not, like, drawn to certain books. Here's the thing. Are there classics that I would probably enjoy? Yes, obviously, of course. They are classics for a reason. It's just like how people say things like ACOTAR. They say, ACOTAR is such a bad series, I don't get the hype. Well, with things like that, if there is such a massive market for those books, and I'm not just talking ACOTAR, I'm just using that as an example because that's kind of like the divisive book series in the book community. If the market for those books is so large, that means there is something about those books that is drawing people in. So, and you could say, well, it's just because it's the book that's talked about in the book community. Okay, still, yes, it is talked about a lot, but people are not going to finish an entire series if they did not enjoy it. If you talk about it, you can talk about it all you want. Somebody can start reading it, and within, you know, by book 1, they're like, yeah, this is not the book for me. But that is not the case. So I can acknowledge that classics are classics for a reason. That said, I read Rebecca and I hated it. I was bored the entire time. I didn't think it was a good book. So I'm not really one to speak on, like, the quality of classics. It's that paired with the fact that I know me as a reader. What I like to read are things that are, like, deeply complex and complicated and really get into the human psyche. And that's not to say that those themes are not present in classics, but what I will say is that modern day books, we just live in a time where we are more open, it's more accepted to talk about these topics. So I know that reading a classic, a lot of them are not going to go as deep as I want them to go. Now that does not pertain to, I feel like I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. Like, that does not pertain to things like politics, things like that. I think The Color Purple is considered a classic. I haven't read the book, I watched the movie. Fantastic movie, obsessed with it, love it. But just the majority of books written at that time, I feel like are not going to have the depth and the complexities of the books that I read now, just because, again, as a society, we have come such a long way on what we are able to speak on, what we want to speak on, what we have more understanding of. And I know this probably sounds really ignorant, like some people are probably going to watch this and go, that is such a stupid take. But it's just it's my truth, and I'm nothing if not authentic. I'm not against classics, and if you leave a comment and you say, hey, I totally get what you're saying, but I think based on the books that you like to read, you will love this classic, I'm going to pick it up. Like, it's never going to be something that I'm like, ew, no, it's a classic, because I don't feel that way about any books, about any genre, anything. I will read any book if I'm told, like, this is a really quality book that I think you're going to love. I don't care if it's written in 1920 or it's written in 2025. Yeah, so moving on. Question number 4 is any genre you have never read. Easy. I haven't read a dark romance. I have read Lights Out, but just, you know, based on what I hear from the dark romance community, that's not really a dark romance. It's more of a dark, I guess, rom-com, a dark comedy. And I didn't enjoy it. There were like some parts of it that I enjoyed, but like for the most part, I didn't enjoy it. And I just feel like even as a psychology major, I do understand all the complex nature of dark romances. I understand what it does for survivors. I understand so much of it. I've done my research. I've never been the person that's just like, yes, no, I don't get it. That's this, that's whatever, that's gross, that's dark, that's whatever. I've done my research. I've studied it, so I get it. I sympathize with it. But it's just not something that I personally enjoy reading. I just don't have any enjoyment of seeing somebody like being, I don't know, taken advantage of or pretending to emulate a certain act. I don't know how to say this without using words that would like get this video blocked on YouTube, which is why I'm being really kind of like broad with how I'm speaking of it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just not something I enjoy reading about. I just don't, the themes in dark romance don't appeal to me, but I do understand how and why they appeal to other people. And I'm saying, girl, live in your truth. Now, do I think that some dark romances are just written just so an author can kind of like use shock value and whatever? Yeah, of course. But like some people have that opinion about A Little Life just being trauma porn, and I love that book. So we all have, you know, our preferences and our beliefs and our opinions, and that is what is so great about books. You keep doing you, boo-boo. I'm gonna keep doing me. But again, I am never closed off to any one book or genre. I will never speak about a genre as a whole, because it just doesn't work that way. It's kind of like with music. I listen to pop, I listen to hip hop, I listen to classics, I go from in any one day listening to the Beatles and Elvis to Taylor Swift to Ariana Grande to The Weeknd, like country. I'm all over the place, so I will never completely write off a genre. But the next genre that I don't think I've ever read a single book from this genre, and that is sci-fi. I'm not necessarily against it. Please give me all the recommendations. If you have a good sci-fi book, I'm open to reading it. I just feel like I'm not typically drawn to like sci-fi movies. I don't really watch a lot of sci-fi movies. I'm trying to think like what is a sci-fi movie. Like I was never into the Star Wars or Star Trek. Those never ever appealed to me. Maybe Dune, but I don't know if that's considered like dystopian. I've never seen Dune, never even seen the trailer. So it's just not something that has ever appealed to me in visual media. So I've just kind of always assumed I wouldn't super enjoy it in a physical like written book. But again, if you have a sci-fi that you are like, this is so good, I think you would love it, I think the characters are complex, the storylines are complex, please by all means, drop it in the comments section. And the final question, question number 5, a book on your shelves you'll probably never actually read. So for this one, I'm going to say Serpentine by Laurel K. Hamilton. This is a book that I thrifted, honestly, because I saw the cover and I was just intrigued. I mean, look at it. Look at the white, like the red lip on the white background, the snake going down. It does sound somewhat interesting. She discovers a horrific new form of lycanthropy, one that has afflicted a single family for generations, believed to be the result of an ancient Greek curse. It turns human bodies into a mass of snakes. And the thing about it, like when I read that, part of me goes, that actually sounds pretty interesting. But then another part of me thinks that it has the capabilities of becoming really cheesy. I don't know that cheesy is the right word. I was gonna say weird, but like sometimes weird is great. I just think it has the capabilities of going real downhill real fast. I'm not opposed to reading it. It's just that I have so many books that I want to read that I've gone out of my way to read. And this one kind of just appealed to me because I was in the thrift store and it had a nice cover, and at the time I was looking to add books to my shelves to read and I just never got to it. So that is the book that is on my shelf that I just will probably never read. And that's it, guys. That is my list of books that I will probably never read. Again, heavy on the probably. We can always change our minds. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know, where was I going with this?
Be nice. I'm finding it.
Leave a comment in the comment section letting me know what book or series you will probably never get to, no matter how hyped it is. I love seeing which books and series divide the book community. Keeps it fun, keeps it spicy. And if you live for the chaos and you're still hanging out here, I have another video where I discuss my most controversial bookish hot takes, and I also have a video where I read 1-star reviews of my favorite 5-star books. Head on over and watch those if you live for the bookish chaos. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!